Yes, they're going to give me.
I thank the chairman for yielding. I rise in support of this amendment. I tend to agree with the gentleman from Mississippi that much of what we have done so far on these various bills have not done a whole lot. We have talked about rectifying the conditions in China, changing human rights, dealing with forced labor, providing for religious freedom, and dealing with the abortion issue. I do not think much will come of those amendments. I felt that some of those were technically flawed. This amendment is different. This is a much better amendment. This amendment gets to the heart of the matter. It is possible, due to a veto or some other technique, that this does not become law, but it should. It would, if it became law, would restrict our funding for the Chinese. This is what should be done. I do not believe that the type of legislation that we've been passing can really change the nature of China. I believe that we have a responsibility here in the Congress to provide for the freest society possible and to set the best example for the world, and that's the best way to change the internal affairs of other nations, and that we do not have this moral authority or constitutional authority to impose our will. But in the same light, we do not have the responsibility, authority, nor should we ever take hard-earned funds from the American taxpayers to subsidize regimes like Red China. So this is why I feel strongly about this issue, that we should stop this loaning through these international agencies. When the Foreign Ops Appropriation Bill came to the floor, we discussed the issue of the Export-Import Bank. This legislation doesn't deal with the Export-Import Bank. This deals with $4 billion that they get from the international agency. And I applaud the chairman for dealing with this. But I proposed an amendment that would deal with the direct subsidies of $4 billion more from the Export-Import Bank, which goes to Red China. We were able to garner 40 votes to send a message and say that China should not be receiving these subsidies. So even with the best of light on a legislation like this, it's moving in the right direction, it's doing the right thing, but still the American people will be obliged to provide $4 billion worth of aid to Red China through the Export-Import Bank. I do not believe this is a proper function for government. I do not believe for a minute the American people want to do this. I believe it's an endorsement of a system that we don't like. At the same time, I do not believe these token bills that we have passed will do hardly anything to change the internal nature of what's occurring in Red China. But if we could send them a message and say that we would not subsidize them, take the funds away, someday maybe we will reconsider taking away the funds from the XBN, but we ought to pass this bill tonight.